Good morning and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on S/4HANA Cloud. We will get started in just a minute or two. Thanks for joining, and look forward to hearing from our colleagues Trevor and Will in just a moment. All right, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon from all of you joining from all over the world today. I am your host, John Froelich, for our webinar this month, focused specifically on S/4HANA Cloud and focused on expense management. And I am really excited to bring this webinar to you. I think it's going to be one of the few times you will see live integration between S/4HANA in the true digital core and in the vision that SAP is espousing around a digital core surrounded by best-in-breed point solutions. So we'll get started. As I said, I'm John Froelich, and we're here for our webinar. I am the moderator. We have on the line also with us Trevor Lovegrove. He is our practice head lead on the Bramasol S/4HANA Cloud practice. Good morning, Trevor. And
good morning, John.
Good morning. And we have Will Pence, who joins me from Texas. We probably could wave at each other, Will. I'm here in Dallas today. Will is joining us. He will be doing the demo of the S/4HANA Cloud integration with both SuccessFactors and Concur. Here's our agenda. We'll go through some housekeeping items. Trevor will talk to us a little bit about Bramasol's vision and approach to digital transformation for the CFO. And then we will be excited and are excited to have Will present a demonstration of an integrated scenario between or among S/4HANA, Concur, and SuccessFactors. So that'll be great. This webinar is being recorded, so I know a number of people are focused very heavily on quarter close, but wanted to get the information and asked if we were recording. We are recording this session, so you can download it, view it, and share it with your customers. You can ask questions throughout the webinar right here in the question panel on your display, and we will try to answer those questions real time or follow up with you individually. We have our SAP Lease Administration hashtag up here. We also have hashtag RevRecReady. And I think, Trevor, we need to come up with one for the S/4HANA Cloud team. So like hashtag S/4HANA Cloud or hashtag Cloud. So we'll come up with that too. And also, as you can see here, you can view the previous webinars right down here. Go to our website down near the bottom of the page. You can scroll down and gain access to our video library. We have several S/4HANA Cloud videos as well as leasing videos. And of course, we've been doing now almost 2 years of revenue recognition videos. So with that, without further ado, I will turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Trevor Lovegrove. And Trevor will take us through the vision of S/4HANA, and let me see, I will stop sharing and try and give you control here. Change present. Okay, can you take you there, Trevor? Do we have control?
Yes, thank you. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thanks very much for the introduction, John. I'm going to take a small amount of time just running through the agenda here, and then we'll get into the meat of this. So we're going to cover 4 points here. The first one is why do you really want to go through the the financial transformation story. What is it? What's important to you, and how does it help you meet your business goals? What are the building blocks associated with financial transformation? Then the third item, which I'm sure is the most exciting piece, which is where Will kicks in, he's going to be showing you some out-of-the-box integration for setting up a new employee, and also to create and pay a new expense report. So, well, I think I've invented a new process called Create to Pay, but that's basically what he'll be showing. And then finally, what services do Bramasol offer to help you through the journey? Okay, so let's go through some of the information about what's fueling financial transformation. This is a really great slide. It was produced by Forrester some years ago now, but it's still pretty indicative of what's really going on. If you look at this on the left-hand side, you see that there's a significant amount of time. It says here 72%, but I believe it's closer to 85 to 90%. Is really being spent in keeping the lights on, either from an IT perspective or from a business perspective. And there's a much smaller amount of energy being spent in driving business innovation. And we need to get to the point where that's basically the other way around, that we're spending as little time as possible keeping the lights on, so that we can start to manage the business more effectively, and more importantly, drive the business forward in terms of new innovations, both from a technology perspective and a business process perspective. So let's talk about some of the typical issues that we face in any real model that you may be going for, either whether it be all on-premise or whether it be some hybrid solution between some cloud and some on-premise, or whatever it may be. First of all, there's a lot of data issues around this, which is inefficient separation of analytical capability and transactional data. That causes a great deal of inefficiency in the whole process of reporting and analytics. The inability to accurately aggregate disparate data sources to support decisions. It does not support the whole business transformation process, to be blunt. And there's a significant dependence on IT for specialist reporting. And finally, that just all rounds down to low productivity that ends up as not being able to deliver what we need to deliver in this ever increasingly fast paced and competitive world. So let's look at some of the driving forces behind financial transformation. Adopting industry-wide best practices is critical. Making sure that your organization is optimized to use those best practices is critical. Predict business performance ahead of time. So we want to get ahead of the curve, not wait until the issue hits us in the face. Drive to continuous close. Remove the major hump in business performance created by closure. Respond to new regulations efficiently and effectively, and then utilize best fit applications. And let's go into what some of those really mean. So adopting industry best practices, how does that help you? It provides consistent processes which enable precise analytics. It provides repeatable and sustainable processes to accelerate closure, and also to complete any particular transaction and troubleshoot any issues that you may have. It also allows you to support compliance requirements, so that when the auditor walks through the door, you can explain very clearly and precisely exactly how you do things. And it enables native workflow integration. And by that I mean it allows you to implement processes from end to end across business units and organizations. Second thing, predict business performance ahead of time. Enables you to make decisions to plan for the future now. A critical element, so you can start to get ahead of the curve when it comes to seeing blips in cash flow or blips in sales performance or whatever it may be. You can start to get ahead of those curves. Time critical closure issues can be identified and resolved in real time, providing you historical views for trending and planning analysis. Again, critical to get that backward view so you can plan forward. And access to business-wide data for predictive analytics so you can see the whole scope of what's going on across your business to determine what the source of your issue is, not necessarily the symptoms. What about continuous close? One of the key elements that all financial groups take is just the time it takes to close. And it's not just the amount of time it takes, it's the amount of resources it takes to get there, the amount of reconciliation and so on that it takes. This also allows you to automate your reconciliation process again, reducing your errors and the amount of manual postings you have to do to correct and balance the books. And finally, you have a single source of truth, which removes the need for manual data interventions, pulling data from one system, transforming it and loading it into another system. Responding to new regulations. The critical thing here is not the fact that new regulations happen, they do, it's the impact they have on your business and how you can respond to that. Responding to new regulation has got to be able to be improved if you know exactly how to integrate these new systems into your environment seamlessly. You can integrate those new regulations into your close process because, again, you're talking about the single source of truth. You've got regulatory experts that can provide guidance because you have someone who understands your end-to-end processes. And you can also make sure that when you're talking about your various applications, that those regulations can be built into your product upgrades and therefore be integrated with your overall solution. And finally, utilizing best fit applications. If you can utilize best fit applications, you can improve your performance in terms of implementation timescales for new applications because you know exactly how it needs to fit, what it needs to look like, and how it interfaces with your other systems. You can support your integration requirements very easily from your own organization, therefore to reduce the impact of new technology injections and changes. Enables you to integrate new systems to support new regulations. Again, a critical item here. You've heard us talk, if you haven't already, you've heard us talk about revenue recognition and leasing. These are critical regulation changes. The impact on your business needs to be assessed, but more importantly, you need to be able to determine what the impact is on your business. And financial transformation using best fit practice applications allows you to integrate them to minimize the impact on your business. And it also allows you to use standard implementation practices, critical in any organization, so that everybody knows what's going on. It allows communication much more effectively, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what are the building blocks associated with financial transformation? There's 4 major building blocks. The first one is cloud, which provides simplicity, fast time to value, and speed of innovation. Data, predictive insights, new product strategies, and comprehensive and ever increasingly real-time customer engagement. Mobile, we live in a mobile world. I think even over the last 5 to 10 years, the influence of mobility, mobile in our lives has increased dramatically. We all know that by just the fact that just think about what we use our phones for nowadays in our day-to-day lives. That any application, any financial transformation has to be able to allow you to adapt to the mobile world in the workforce and enable you to do anything from anywhere. And then finally, people. We mustn't forget the people here. That our whole world is surrounded by collaboration, both from a social and business perspective. There's digital communities. You need to be able to collaborate in order to become ever increasingly competitive beyond your own company's boundaries. You need to be able to communicate in real time with your suppliers, with your customers, and so on and so forth. So it's critical that we build a platform that allows you to communicate effectively with everyone involved in your business. Okay, so what does that mean in real terms? Let's get down to some nitty-gritty here. Firstly, let's talk about the digital core. Now, as you can see, the digital core is sitting in the middle, and that's important. The integration capabilities of all of these different systems into the digital core allows you to optimize your user workflows, allows you to build architectures based on industry solutions, so using best fit practices for those particular either industries or vertical markets. Empowers personalization capabilities, and it also allows you to interconnect all sorts of elements to the environment. And what does that allow you to do? It provides you with immediacy, it provides you with intelligence, and it provides you with integrated solutions. Okay, so finally, these are the sorts of application suites that SAP have put together, all within the digital core. So outside, again, in the middle of there, you've got the digital core, but interconnected to it is all the various applications such as SuccessFactors, Concur, Ariba, Hybris, and all of these applications pass their data and collaborate with their data, the single source of truth, into the digital core. And there are two other critical elements to this that allow you to integrate third-party systems and services using the cloud platform. The SAP platform allows you to extend the reach of the digital core into third-party services or products using a standard platform, development platform. And in addition to that, the SAP Analytics Cloud allows you to use the predictive analytics and business planning capabilities of that platform to take all of that enterprise data that you've seen in all these core platforms and present them in a way that allows business decision makers to analyze what they're seeing in terms of business performance and make decisions, not just on what is happening now, but also what might happen in the future. And with that, I want to pass over to Will Pence, who will now show you the exciting part of this webinar, showing you in real time the integration capability between SuccessFactors, Concur, and S/4HANA Cloud. Thank you. Over to you, Will.
Hi, thank you, Trevor. So we're going to walk through a real-life business scenario that's going to show the native integration between the S/4HANA Cloud system with SuccessFactors and Concur. So we're going to see the following in the scenario. We just hired a new senior consultant, and the HR manager is going to process the new employee into SuccessFactors Employee Central. Finance will then go into the S/4HANA Cloud and update the supplier information for the new employee to enable payment. And after attending a new hire orientation, the new employee will then log into Concur and process a new expense report for travel. And finally, the AP manager will then process the outgoing payment to the new employee. So before we show this integration functionality, let's look at a couple of the process flows that we'll be demonstrating between these systems. So the first process flow I have showing is between SAP SuccessFactors and the S/4HANA Cloud. And so what's going to happen is we're going to go in and we're going to assign the cost center to an employee and submit that employee. And then in the background, that employee information will be transferred to the S/4HANA Cloud. At that point, we're going to go in and verify that the business user has been set up, as well as the business partner, because the employee will come in as two different sources of data, as a business user and a business partner. And then from there, in S/4HANA Cloud, you can run processes using employees to process payments, or they could actually log into the system themselves when they're giving roles later on. Okay, and then we're going to see another integration between S/4HANA Cloud and Concur. So what will happen here is the employee will log in and create a new expense report. The expense report will go through an approval process, or can go through an approval process in Concur. We won't be showing that. Our expense report that we'll be showing will go through automatic approval. It will then be, in the back end, transferred over to S/4HANA Cloud. And at that point, an acknowledgement will be sent back to Concur saying whether or not the expense report has been received, okay? And after that, in the S/4HANA Cloud system, the expense report will be posted. Now, depending on whether or not that expense report is successfully posted or it failed, it will then send a confirmation message back to Concur telling whether or not it failed, it's in a failed status or not. And then at that point in S/4HANA Cloud, you could go through the payment run. And again, that payment run will be done in the S/4HANA Cloud system. So let's go ahead and demonstrate this real life scenario between the three systems. So first, we're going to go into SuccessFactors and enter the new employee information. Okay, so I'm in SuccessFactors, and I've already gone through and set up the employee information. The only thing I need to do now is enter the cost center information. So let me scroll down to the job information. We're going to edit that, and we're going to enter the cost center for consulting unit A. We'll then come down to the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and submit this. So at this point, this information is going to be saved in SuccessFactors, and at the same time, in the background, this information will then be transferred to the S/4HANA Cloud. So we can see that employee has been added in SuccessFactors. Okay, so now we're going to go into the S/4HANA Cloud system, and we're going to verify that the new employee has been set up, both as a business user and a business partner. So let's go to the cloud system. So here we are. We're going to go into the Identity and Access Management group, and in here we're going to go to Maintain Business Users. And the new employee, by the way, the new employee that was set up, his name was Scott Gilbert. So we're just going to come in, and we're going to do a quick search on the last name Gilbert. And here he is right here. We can see he's been set up, and he is now set up as a business user. Now, no roles have been assigned to him. That will be done by a key user later in the process to determine what access, if any, he should have to the S/4HANA Cloud system. So let's go back home. And so now let's see, we're going to check and see the setup of the business partner master and see his current settings set up as a supplier, because he needs to be set up as a supplier in order to receive payments for any expenses he incurs. So in here, we're going to do a quick search on his last name of Gilbert. And we see it comes up right here, so we'll double click on the number. Okay, and at this point, we're going to be making some changes to this because we need to we need to attach them to the company code of 1710, which is the U.S. company. So we're going to come in, and we need to do this on the supplier financial accounting side. So we'll go to that role of supplier financial accounting. We're going to go to the company code tab, and at this point, we're going to come in and adopt company code 1710. So we'll enter 1710 as the company code, and we want him set up as the supplier. So we'll click on that and then click on adopt. Okay, and at this point, we need to set up a reconciliation account. So we'll do a quick search, and we're going to select the travel expenses payable account. Okay, from this point, we can save it. All right, our changes have been saved. And we're going to go ahead and go back to this PowerPoint slide here. So now that we've verified the new employee and maintained the supplier, maintain that employee as a supplier in the cloud system, we can now process a new expense report in the Concur system. So let's go ahead and go to Concur. And at this point, this is when the employee will actually go in and sign in under Concur under his own user ID. So we set up his user ID as sgilbert@sap.com. We'll put in his password. So at this point, this employee went through some new hire, went through a new hire orientation, and he had to go purchase airfare out of his own pocket. Now he wants to be reimbursed for that airfare. So he's going to go in, and we're going to create a new expense report. Okay, so we're going to call this orientation airfare. We'll put today as the report date, and we're also going to enter the logical system. So where is this information going to be transferred to? We're going to transfer it to this S/4HANA Cloud Edition right here. We'll put in the company code 1710. The cost object is going to go to a cost center, and the cost center will be the consulting unit A. So at this point, we'll click on next. And we're going to come to the page where we'll actually enter our expenses. So here, we're going to be doing airfare. So we'll click on airfare. The transaction date, we'll put in as today. The vendor, this is just a list of all the airlines providers. So we're going to click on, we'll say he flew United. City of purchase, let's say he came from Denver, Colorado. And we'll say the amount of the airline ticket was $500. And we'll go ahead and save this. So now it's going to show up, barring no errors, to show up with the airfare. So we're going to go ahead and submit this report. So we'll click on Submit Report. And so go through a final review, we'll accept and submit. And again, we're not going through any approval process at this point, but you can set up approval processes in Concur. It shows that the report was successfully submitted, so we'll go ahead and close. So now if I click on the report library, we'll see the report, and we see that it's approved, and it says processing payment. So this is the point where it's actually now transferring this information to the S/4HANA Cloud System. So I'm going to Alt-Tab back to the S/4HANA Cloud System. And we want to make sure that this information successfully posted in S/4HANA Cloud. So we're going to go to Concur Posting Documents Monitor. All right, and we look down, and it hasn't come in yet. Let me see. Let me do a quick refresh. And hopefully it should come in relatively soon. I did one earlier this morning, and it took less than a minute to come through. Hold on, hopefully.
So while we're waiting, Will, I don't know, did it show up? While we're waiting for it to show up. Yeah, while we're waiting to show, can you remind everybody, this is in the public cloud or the private cloud? I know a lot of people show cloud, and what they're really showing is a private cloud hosted somewhere else. It's really on-prem. Is this the public or the private cloud?
Good question, John. Yes. So this is the public cloud. So everything I've been showing today so far in the S/4HANA Cloud System, this is public cloud. Correct.
Cool.
Okay. So while we answered that question, the expense report did come through, and we can see right here under the document name, under S. Gilbert, and we see that it's successful. And you can also see that the acknowledgement was sent and the confirmation was sent that we had talked about earlier. All right, so at this point, we could go in and we could display, by highlighting the line, we could display the posted financial documents. So let's open up another window. And here we're going to see the journal entry that was posted for this expense report. So we can see the $500 credit for travel expense payable and a $500 debit for travel expense air miles. Okay. So now, let's go back to our PowerPoint. So we've processed the new expense report in Concur. It's been transferred over to S/4HANA Cloud, and we verified the journal entry. And now we're going to post the outgoing payments in the S/4HANA Cloud system. So let's go back to our S/4HANA Cloud system. And I'm going to close out of these tabs. And we're going to go into Manage Supplier Line Items to view the open payment. So as you can see, we have open items, and we're going to do a quick search on the supplier. So we'll put in his last name, Gilbert. And we see it comes up right here. And then we hit go. And we should have our journal entry. There it is, that we just viewed, our journal entry for the $500 and his supplier number. So from here, just by clicking on this link, right now we have access to 2 links, but if I click on more, we can see that we have access to many more links as well. So I'm going to select all of them and click OK. And so now, if I click on the link again, we'll see all those links, and we're going to do a post outgoing payment. So from inside Manage Supplier Line Items, we can do other processes straight from this app instead of having to go back out and open up another app or go to another menu item. So we're going to post this outgoing payment. And in here, we're going to go ahead and put in all the information needed to post. So we're going to go ahead and put in our bank information. So we'll do the Bank One main account, our house bank information. We know it was for $500. We'll go ahead and do the dates for today, for the value date and journal entry date. And then we'll come over here, and you can see that the supplier number is here already. So we're just going to show the items that are open for that supplier. So if we come down here, we now shows up, and we see our orientation airfare journal entry, and we're going to go ahead and clear that. And so now our balance at the top right corner will go from $500 to 0, and we're ready to post. So I'm going to do a quick simulation of what the posting would look like. And we can see that it's going to credit the Bank One main account and debit the travel expense payable account. And from here, we go ahead and post. And we see the journal entry has been saved successfully. Okay. All right. So let's go back. So what are the benefits of the native integration with S/4HANA Cloud that we saw? So in here, we saw that the synchronized process integrations to ensure data consistency, seamless integration. So in this case, we only had to enter information into one system, and it synchronized to the other systems, without having to replicate that data in other systems. We entered it in one, and that same information is now across multiple systems. So we don't have to worry about any false data or any entered incorrect data. Reduce the complexity with standardization and automation, ease of use. So again, this has to do with we put it in one system, and it processed across multiple systems. So we don't have to go in. The user, in this case, the HR manager, didn't have to go into multiple systems to enter all the information needed. They just need to go into in this case, SuccessFactors, enter the information once, and it syncs across all other systems. And lastly, the pre-delivered integrations and tools increase speed of value. So there's no additional hardware or software required for the system. You just need your licenses for each of the systems. And it also comes with SAP best practices for both the core S/4HANA Cloud and the native integrations. And with the cloud system, you also get SAP's quarterly updates and continuous system maintenance. So you'll always receive the latest innovations provided by SAP. So I hope this demonstration was helpful in showing how the S/4HANA Cloud System, along with its native integrations, can help you transform your business. So now I'd like to hand it back over to Trevor to wrap up the presentation.
Yeah, real quick, Will, there is actually another question. I noticed that you were moving around in multiple systems, and of course you were logged in as the HR manager, as an accounting manager, and then as our employee. In theory, could you log in using SSO you'd be logged into all three systems and move seamlessly amongst them if you were the same person in a role that allowed you access to those?
Yeah. So in this case, I didn't actually, as far as the success factors login, I logged in as the HR manager. But in Concur, I basically had all the roles in one. But yeah, just for the simplicity of the demo, I didn't have to log in and log out as the different roles. But yes, I believe there's able to be a single sign-on for across all the systems needed.
That's great. Okay, thank you. All right, Trevor, we will transfer over to you.
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, Will. So let's just catch up and summarize what Will has shown you. As he said right at the end, we've shown the connections between SuccessFactors, S/4HANA Cloud, and Concur, which are all cloud applications. And as you can see, sort of those connections are at the sort of the top right and to the left of this picture. There are also native integrations with C4C and SAP Hybris, and also Ariba. And we're very happy to put together demos, and will be over the next few months, showing demos of those features as part of our overall package of showing you how financial transformation can, in fact, transform your business, automate your end-to-end processes, and improve your speed to value. Now, in addition to that, we're also intending in a later series to show integrations to third-party services and platforms through the cloud platform. And also we will be pulling in Analytics Cloud. So you'll be seeing over future webinars, all of these systems being activated at some point or another within this diagram. So you'll start to see the full suite of applications across a whole bunch of standard business processes like procure to pay or order to cash and so on and so forth, and see how they can work in your business to meet your business objectives. So let's go on to what Bramasol can bring to the party. Well, the first thing is from an organizational perspective, we have a very strong depth in a whole variety of industries across our senior executive organization, as well as our technical experts. We have program delivery experience in business transformations going back several years. And we have, to say the very least, 30+ years in combined cloud implementation experience. So we understand what it takes to be able to come in and help you understand how your business can transform itself and help lay the path out with you to minimize the impact on your business as you move forward. From a functional perspective, we have best fit program management methodologies, exploiting the SAP processes for product implementation, and building on that to provide a full service experience. We have financial accounting and business operations experience throughout the organization that we can pull in as required. And we also have analytics and integration experience, both in the cloud world and in the on-premise world. So we can build hybrid solutions as well as all cloud solutions and linking those to analytics applications. Moving on again about our value accelerator services. There's about 6 of these, but I'll just quickly run through them. First of all, we can help you understand what those best practices mean in terms of your business processes. What is the best platform configuration you require? What sort of native integration you can exploit? And what your user acceptance processes need to be. We have a standard data migration process taking you through an analysis of the landscape, designing and building the environment, what extract and archive processes you need to put in place, especially in the financial data area, what transformation and validation is required, and then loading and then the reconciliation so that you can be up and running full service as of day one. Change management. How do you deal with change management? Both from all the way from organizational alignment through to key user enablement, training, new hire orientation, and then very critically, post-go live follow-up. And then let's look at extensibility, because that's a critical item in a lot of cloud applications. A lot of concerns are raised about, well, can we change it? Can we add to it? Yes, you can. First of all, there's what they call in-app extensibility, which allows you to customize forms, create standard reporting that maybe fit your business, and also any other personalization aspects that you may want to add purely from a user perspective. No need there to have necessarily IT resources involved in any of those. In terms of also another aspect of extensibility is what they call side-by-side, which allows you to build third-party integration applications that link your third-party applications to your core platform in a seamless way. It allows you to link to new standalone applications, and I'll use leasing application. We are very heavily involved in the implementation program for Nikisa, and we also have this allows you to integrate to that seamlessly, and also to extend those end-to-end processes either at the beginning, the end, not necessarily to change the best practice in the middle, but also to extend it out so that it provides, again, that full service capability from an end-to-end process perspective. And last but not least is analytics. We can provide you the capability to produce executive dashboards, predictive analytics, business planning, all based on multi-system sourcing. So finally, what sort of solution services can we provide? Well, we can provide all sorts, starting from advisory services to help you understand what you need to do on the impact on your business and whether you even need to do it. Functional expertise in understanding the solution and how it can help you be more efficient and effective. Analytics expertise, very critical in today's world to make sure that you're exploiting all of that data to the most effective way to manage your business, both from this existing point and then looking forward from a predictive perspective. Integration services, again, absolutely critical. We can help you understand what's the best way to integrate the disparate bunch of platforms that you may have in the most effective way, and to allow, again, all of that critical data to be provide you the single source of truth. You need to be able to personalize solution for your needs, both from a business perspective and an individual user perspective. And we can provide those services to help you overcome some of those issues in terms of duplicative roles, or possibly even just to make the workflow work as efficiently as is possible for a particular user. John mentioned the simple question of SSO. How do you do that from both a small organization where roles are spread across, or one individual may have several roles, to bigger organizations where roles are much more clearly segmented in a more traditional model? And then delivery expertise. How do you get this all in place, and how do you get it all working effectively? And how do you roadmap out a solution that is going to meet your needs in an evolving way? To that end, I just want to talk about where to go next. We've already talked about expense management. This was just showing how the solution we have in the digital core allows you to provide an integrated end-to-end process. And we have other subject matters that are coming up in the future. We're always looking at this module. It's subject to change, but we're looking at the challenges of financial transformation, migration, analytics, how you can best exploit them, How do you roadmap your way through to the end of your journey? What does predictive analytics allow you to do? And again, breaking down the extensibility rationale going forward.
Right.
And just as a last indicator, we have a number of ebooks on our website, and you can use the link going forward if you go in, so you can take a look at what we've got in our resource center in terms of ebooks and how-to videos and so on and so forth. And that's the end of our session. And back to you, John.
Well, thank you, Trevor and Will. Terrific. You could just leave that up there for the moment. We will wrap up. I want to thank everybody for attending. A reminder specifically about our next sets of webinars. We will be focusing on integrations from the procure-to-pay process. Specifically, how do you enable the flow all the way from Ariba through S/4HANA Cloud into Nikisa, using a procure-to-pay focused on the leasing experience. And as the leading experts in revenue accounting and revenue recognition, we would be remiss if we did not show you how RAR works in the S/4HANA Cloud environment. So you can look forward to seeing that, as well as Trevor hinted at, we'll be showing some third-party integrations as well. We will continue these on a monthly basis, so I encourage all of you to join. I want to thank the audience, both the clients and the SAP folks who joined us for your time, and we look forward to having you on future webinars. And again, thank you, Will and Trevor, for a terrific job. Everybody have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you on future webinars.